And howdy, everyone. Happy Sabbath. Welcome to Word Redeux number 160. I know, that's pretty amazing, huh? Especially when you stack that on top of however many hundreds of the original word we did. That was quite a bit. Hey, if you don't have a Bible or you just like studying in depth, you can go to all kinds of different places online. You can go to kingjamesbibleonline.org. You can go to blueletterbible.org, eSword.net, BibleHub.com, and BibleStudyTools.com for their audio Bible. If you want to learn about coming out of Babylon in the physical, go to c2kreport.com. I think they just started classes, so it'll be a few weeks. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. Where are we? Oh, that's right. Hey, look at that. Doink. Welcome, representative of House of Stone.
Yes, I didn't see the link until I went back and read the emails again and I thought, oh, darn it, there it is.
That's fine. It's what we do. Okay. So, today we are in 2 Kings, chapters 7 and 8. So, we're going to read through it and take lots of notes, and then we're going to discuss it after we get done with the reading. Let's see. Look at that. Chat is filling up fast.
I don't think I can. Oh, I might be able to see that on my phone. I'll have to take a look.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Real quick.
Oh, no rush. That. Got plenty of other things to do. That. Got that there. All right. Actually, I only had one other thing to do. Well, let's go ahead and pray in, and then we're going to have Otto read this morning. Unless
okay.
You want to read all of chapter 7?
I can.
Okay, and then I'll do all of chapter 8.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, let's go ahead and pray in. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for giving us this time to come together so we can study your word and fellowship and just revel in being your children. We're very grateful for that, and thank you for it daily. We would ask you to pour out your spirit of knowledge and understanding on everybody that's here now and in the future, so that they get the message that that you need us to have, and we thank you for that. We also ask for your healing and financial relief for those that are needing it and seeking it. And we also to ask you to continue with the physical healing of people that have been having issues and that you are recovering. And we're grateful for that as well. And also for those that are having a spiritual or physical struggle with any sort of substance or drug, any sort of addiction, whether it's a physical or spiritual. And we also know that you will take care of that should they just call on you and seek you out. Thank you, Father. Bless you in Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. Oh, righty. Okay. Let's see. You were voluntold for chapter 7. Let's go right there. Let's do that, and then let me pull this up for the read-along crowd. Excuse me. Bleh. Okay, I gotta fix this. There we go. And we are on chapter 7. And take it away.
All right. Do you want me to read from the screen, or is it better to read?
You can read what you have right in front of you.
All right, it's gonna be easier. And Elijah said, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, about this time tomorrow, a seah of fine flour for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel at the gate of Shomeron. And an officer on whose hand the sovereign leaned answered the man of Elohim and said, look, if the Lord is making windows in the heavens, shall this word come true? And he said, look, you are about to see it with your eyes, but not eat of it. And there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate, and they said to each other, why are we sitting here until we are dead? If we shall say, let us go into the city, the scarcity of food is in the city, and we shall die there. If we sit here, we shall die. And now come, let us surrender to the army of the Arameans. If they keep us alive, we live. And if they kill us, we shall die. So at twilight, they rose up to go to the camp of the Arameans. And when they had come to the outskirts of the Aramean camp, look, no one was there. For the Lord had caused the army of the Arameans to hear the noise of chariots, and the noise of horses, and the noise of a great army. And they said to each other, look, the sovereign of Israel has hired against us the sovereigns of the Hittites and the sovereigns of the Mitzrites to come against us. So they rose up and fled at twilight and left the camp as it is, their tents, their horses, and their donkeys, and they fled for their lives. And when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent, ate and drank, took from there silver and gold and garments, and went and hid them. Then they came back and went into another tent, and took from there, and went and hid it. Then they said to each other, we are not doing right. This day is a day of good news, and we are keeping silent. And if we wait until morning light, then evil shall come upon us. And now come, let us go and inform the house of the sovereign. And they came and called to the gatekeepers of the city and informed them, saying, we went to the camp of Aram, and look, there is not a man or a voice of a man, only horses tied and donkeys tied, and the tents as they were. And the gatekeepers called, and they informed the house of the sovereign inside. So the sovereigns rose up in the night and said to his servants, let me now inform you what the Arameans have done to us. They know that we are starving, so they have gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the fields, saying, when they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive and enter into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, please let some take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Look, they are like the entire crowd of Israel that are left in it. Look, they are like the entire crowd of Israel left from those who are consumed. So let us see. And they went after them to the Jordan. And look, all the way was littered with garments and weapons, which the Arameans had thrown away in their haste. And the messengers returned and reported to the sovereign. Then the people went out and plundered the camp of Aram. So a seah of fine flour was for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. And the sovereign had appointed the officer on whose hand he leaned to be in charge of the gate. But the people trampled him in the gate, and he died, as the man of Elohim had said, who spoke when the sovereign came down to him. And it came to be as the man of Elohim had spoken to the sovereign, saying, 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, and a seah of fine flour for a shekel, at this time tomorrow in the gate of Shomeron. That officer answered the man of Elohim and said, now look, if the Lord is making windows in the heavens, it is according to this word. And he had said, look, you are about to see it with your eyes, but not eat of it. And so it came to be for him, for the people trampled him in the gate, and he died.
What
A way to go. Okay. 2 Kings chapter 8. Then spake Elisha unto the woman whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise, and go thou and thine household, and sojourn wheresoever thou canst sojourn. For the Lord hath called for a famine, and it shall also come upon the land 7 years. And the woman arose and did after the saying of the man of God. And she went with her household and sojourned in the land of the Philistines 7 years. And it came to pass at the 7 years' end that the woman returned out of the land of the Philistines. And she went forth to cry unto the king for her house and for her land. And the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of God, saying, Tell me, I pray thee, all the great things that Elisha hath done. And it came to pass, as he was telling the king how he had restored a dead body to life, that, behold, excuse me, the woman whose son he had restored to life cried to the king for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said, My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Elisha restored to life. And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed unto her a certain officer, saying, Restore all that was hers, and all the fruits of the field, since the day that she left the land, even until now. And Elisha came to Damascus, and Benhadad, the king of Syria, was sick, and it was told him, saying, The man of God is come hither. And the king said unto Hazael, Take a present in thine hand, and go and meet the Son of God, meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord by him, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? So Hazael went to meet him, and took a present with him, even of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camels' burden, and came and stood before him, and said, Thy son Benhadad, king of Syria, hath sent me to thee, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? And Elisha said unto him, Go say unto him, Thou mayest certainly recover. Howbeit the Lord hath showed me that he shall surely die. And he settled his countenance steadfastly until he was ashamed. And the man of God wept. And Hazael said, Why weepeth my Lord? And he answered, Because I know the evil that thou wilt do unto the children of Israel. Their strongholds wilt thou set on fire, and their young men wilt thou slay with the sword, and wilt dash their children, and rip up their women with child. And Hazael said, But what is thy servant, a dog, that he should do this great thing? And Elisha answered, The Lord hath showed me that thou shalt be king over Syria. So he departed from Elisha, and came to his master, who said to him, What said Elisha to thee? And he answered, He told me that thou shouldst surely recover. And it came to pass on the morrow that he took a thick cloth, and dipped it in water, and spread it on his face, so that he died. And Hazael reigned in his stead. And in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat, being then king of Judah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign. 32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Ahab, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Yet the Lord would not destroy Judah for David his servant's sake, as he promised him to give him alway a light and to his children. In his days Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah, and made a king over themselves. So Joram went to Zair, and all the chariots with him. And he rose by night, and smote the Edomites which compassed him about, and the captains of the chariots, and the people fled to into their tents. Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. Then Libnah revolted at the same time. And the rest of the acts of Joram, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Joram slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel, did Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, begin to reign. 22 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri, king of Israel. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab and did evil in the sight of the Lord, as did the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. And he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, to war against Hazael, the king of Syria, in Ramoth Gilead. And the Syrians wounded Joram. And King Joram went back to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds which the Syrians had given him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael, king of Syria, and Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, in Jezreel, because he was sick. Yeah. Okay. That was my thoughts exactly.
Sounds like a lot of people getting sick and dying.
You know, that what are you going to do? Can't change it. It already happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to chapter 7, and we'll start this discussion. So I got some questions about this. Is there anything you noticed in the first few verses that jumped out at you?
Honestly, for the whole chapter 7, I was kept thinking about why do they sure are naming the price of flour and barley. I don't know why that stuck out to me, but it was like, what are they doing? But then when you get towards the end, I realized I think at the beginning, was he making a prophecy? Is that what he's doing? And then towards the end, the prophecy came true?
Yes.
Okay.
And that, I find it interesting, though, the very first couple of verses, the first verse is the prophecy, right? And then this second one, this I don't know what you would call it, a servant of the king, I guess. He's like, yeah, right. We're in the middle of a famine and starving to death. We're under siege.
Yeah.
And, well, you know what? Because you don't believe, you're going to see it, but you're not going to eat. Yeah. And very interesting that how these lepers were used.
I thought so too.
Right? They're like, because if you remember back to the law that was given at Sinai, lepers are to be outcast, right? They're not supposed to be anywhere, and anytime anyone approaches, you're supposed to announce it, unclean, unclean, unclean. And the stranger is going to go, I think they're trying to tell us something. Anyways, they're outside the city, but they're still like in close proximity to it because they don't want to be down there where the Syrians are. And then, I like their reasoning. They're like, you know what? Let's just get up and go down there to the Syrians because our brothers here won't have anything to do with us. So let's go down there. And if they kill us, fine. And if they don't kill us, maybe they'll feed us.
They didn't have many choices there, did they?
Yeah. I mean, they're well, that's pretty much where they're stuck. And so they go down. And then, it's interesting how often we see this in Scripture. It says that Yah, the Lord, makes them hear a noise of chariots and horses and of a great army. And so they start thinking, the Hittites and the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians. I'm not sure how your translation says that.
Mhm.
I'm sure for the Egyptians or Mithraites, that um, they, I don't know, that it's prophecy fulfilled again because they were told that if you trust in me, then I'm going to have this many flee before you,
Mhm.
10,000 before two of you. So here come four of these lepers who aren't even in the army, right? Because they're outcasts. And it's
Mhm.
just another way for God to say, see, it wasn't you, it was me.
Well, it was interesting that they went and they hid the stuff, but didn't they also reveal that they're like, look, they just threw all this stuff on the ground and left. That they must have, I thought they were hiding it for their own purposes later, to go back and reclaim this, but they really were using it to, the way I understood it anyway, was to
Yeah.
solidify their position of, hey, they're all
Well,
good. They left and they left this mess. And
yeah. And they did. They're like, man, we're rich.
mm-hmm,
We're
yeah.
rich lepers. Um, you know, and that, but then they start feeling guilty, right? They say, we better go back and tell the king.
Right.
Guilt trip. So they were raised well, right?
Well, at this point, they were lepers, so they were probably so outcast they didn't care about anybody else but
Right.
survival. So, yeah,
They're all telling each other stories. One time when I was a kid, I stole a handful of dates and my mom made me take them back.
that's right. We just threw out the pits and told mom somebody else ate them or something. That's
Right.
kind of the way I'm reading it.
Where we got it.
Yeah, I just don't know where they came from.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so this goes up, and in the king's like, I don't know about this. So they don't trust the lepers, which how often is that because we have a lower opinion of someone and they tell us something that's true and factual, we're just like,
Yeah,
we're going to investigate that ourselves.
it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, it is. It is very easy to do that. Person.
It is. We all do it. And okay, so anyways, then the king directs the dude that was told he was going to die, after everybody goes down there and gets all the food and gold and silver and clothes and everything. King says, you go guard the gate. And so that prophecy comes true, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're selling barley and flour. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. And then he gets trampled by a bunch of people that are starving to death.
Mm-hmm. Right. That chapter was fairly self-explanatory. The second chapter, with the one you read, I was a little less.
Right.
I'm going to go read that a couple more times, I think, to understand it all. But
well, there's a lot in there to unpack. So let's go ahead and head over there. Let's go ahead. It's because I had Italian food last night. Let's see. Chapter 8. Okay. So this part right here. So the woman that we read about, where he restored her son's life, the son that she didn't want, but he listened to one of his servants and said, give her a baby. So he uses his position to get her with child, and then the child dies. So that woman, he tells her, you and your family get out go live wherever you can, because Yah, Father, the Lord, is going to have a famine here. And it shall also come upon the land 7 years. So they're going to have a 7-year famine. So it's some type of judgment coming to pass. They're doing something wrong. So she does. Where does she go? She goes to live with the Philistines for the 7 years. Okay, so she goes, and then she comes back, and she's going to go to the king and say, I want my land back and my house. Well, then Gehazi, now remember, that's the servant that got the portion of leprosy that was taken from Naaman, the Syrian general, the head of the Syrian army. And because he went and got payment when Elisha had said, no, we're not taking any of your money. So that was a couple of readings back, last reading or the reading before. So he's telling the king about all these things that it says that Elisha did, but it's actually Yah, God, through Elisha, right? Just like the Holy Spirit healing people through the apostles and stuff. And so right when he's telling him about Elisha and this woman whose son was restored to life, he comes, this woman comes. And so the king says, and this is what gets me a bit puzzled, right? Why did she go to live with the Philistines? Because of the famine, right? And so the king says to a certain officer, restore all that was hers and all the fruits of the field since the day that she left the land, even until now. And I asked this before when we have read through, like they came down from Jacob and all his sons, the 12, beginning of the 12 tribes, go down to Egypt from Canaan. Right before they go down, he sends these presents to Pharaoh and unknowingly to Joseph of fruits and nuts. But they're in a famine. So I guess my question is, why aren't fruits and nuts connected? Why aren't they considered part of the famine? Is it because they're long-term storageable, or?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know, I guess.
I don't know. If anybody knows or has a theory, post it in the chat, because it's boggling my brain, man.
I would assume just because they could be stored, long term. They probably weren't, I would assume, plentiful, or maybe had traveled a great distance for them, so they were maybe rationed out a little bit, less or something, other than wheat or whatever you would use for your daily consumption.
Right. Yeah.
So they would probably be
considered
expensive.
Right. Famine must be like, I don't know, but it must be the grains, the annual crops.
Grains, and I suppose what they could feed their animals. So I'm assuming if they couldn't feed their animals, then the meat would be gone as well during a famine.
Right. And you may have some better insight into this because of what you and Mr. Stone are doing with the regenerative agriculture. But I know that the like Greg Lawton, they're always, or Jeff Lawton, sorry, not Greg. Yeah, they're always talking about plant a food forest, because once that's done, you always have food. You don't have to do any more of the plowing and the
Right.
plowing and planting and harvesting and plowing and planting and harvesting.
Mhm.
So it's an to me it's a interesting thing, but I don't I would like a better understanding of why
Mhm.
I don't know.
Right.
Also, too, no grass. Would that mean no grass for the cattle?
That's what I'm assuming is that it, I'm sure as it dried out year after year, they just grazed and grazed and grazed and, and then pretty soon there is nothing for them to feed on. So
Mm-hmm.
the wheat is, or the grains that they have to go buying is a daily staple. I guess that's why the Lord's Prayer says, "Give us our daily bread." I suppose, huh? Because that's
There
our,
is that.
our daily nourishment. Yeah, the example of the day, I guess you could say. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And famine can really drive. I think I don't know that we fully comprehend how going through a famine could drive people to do things that they never would have done before,
Right.
desperation. So,
Well, that was last week. The
oh,
women that agreed to eat the babies.
that's right. Yes, I did read that. I thought, whoa, I never read that before.
The,
I was like, what?
no, thank you.
A whole world opens up when you open up the Bible and start reading it. Whoa, they didn't
Yes,
teach
it
me this
does.
in Sunday school.
Yeah, why don't they teach that in Sunday school?
I know those older teenagers, high schoolers, they can handle it, right? Yep.
They should be able to. Yes, that's understatement of the millennium.
Mhm.
Desperate people are dangerous, says Melanie.
Yes.
Fact. So then we have now look, Elisha cruises all the way up to Damascus, so he's going up to Syria, and the king of Syria is sick, and he's like, "Ask the man of God if I'm going to recover," and he's like, tell him he would, right? He sends a servant to ask that, Hazael, and this guy's a character. I want to check that out. What does Hazael mean? It is Hebrew 2371, and it means God has seen. So that wouldn't be a very big predictor, I don't think, of
Mm.
the stuff he's getting ready to pull off. And here he comes again with gifts. And
But he really had just a question: was, do I recover from this? Wasn't that Hazael that asked him,
yeah,
"Do I recover this?" Or was it, "Oh, your
but
son"?
he's bringing that message from Ben Hadad,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Ben Hadad pulls the old
Hmm.
when he goes back because he knows he's going to murder the king. And when he goes back, what does he say? He took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it on
Hmm.
the king's face. Right. So he killed him by waterboarding him, is what it sounds like. Fear and well, however it works.
Or maybe there was a poison of some sort in the cloth. Is also the way I kind of read it. That maybe there was something he put on his face that he breathed in, similar to like an ether or something like that. That maybe he
Maybe.
just, you know,
Well, he was already sick too.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
But it sounds like Elisha said to him, "Go say to him, you shall certainly recover, but the Lord has shown me that he shall certainly die." I thought that was kind of interesting that he would tell him the opposite of what the Lord was telling him. So
yeah.
the man of Elohim wept. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of put them at ease, like, okay, well, you just relax.
Yeah.
Or this piece of cloth with this water on it. That doesn't sound good, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's hard to breathe through water, though.
Yeah.
So we have, it goes into, now remember, this time period is the divided nation of Israel, separated into two kingdoms, the house of Judah and the house of Israel, or slash Ephraim, slash northern kingdom, slash northern 10 tribes. And it jumps back to Judah to talk about that. And so Jehoram becomes the king of Judah, but it says he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Ahab, because he married Ahab's daughter, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord, in the sight of Yah. So a fascinating turn of events here. And also here, right, Edom had been under the yoke of his brother, and he revolts, breaks out from the hand of Judah. And even though they're smiting the Edomites everywhere, they're still going to be successful in this revolt, this revolution. It's very interesting, though. We'll see in the future how they reunite in a way through a treaty, and then eventually become so interwoven with Judah that foreigners like the Romans can't tell the difference. Anyways.
Yeah. There was a lot happening in that chapter. It seems like, I know it was over a year or probably several years, but it seems like there was a lot happening all at once.
Yep. So then Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, the king of Judah, begins to reign. And he was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
So that's not very long.
No.
But my question is, how many men do you know that were 22 that would have made a good king?
Well, I didn't think there's even been some younger than that, correct? Or,
There has.
yeah.
There has. But at 22, you're a
baby with a checkbook.
you're really flexing. I'm on my own.
Yeah, that's young. It is young. Yeah.
I'm on top of the world. I can do everything. Well, that's how it's split into two kingdoms too, right? I mean, because the young son of Solomon said, I'm going to make your tax burden even heavier.
Right. Yep. That is for sure. And it kind of makes me wonder if at that age, how much they really know about even their own people's history. I mean, there's so much going on that I wonder, how much they understand of their, I don't know how to put it, their
Heritage,
yeah. Their laws, I guess they're, what they're supposed to be following. This kind of makes you wonder.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I just had a discussion with a local group, and I say just a couple of weeks ago. And they were, someone was making the assertion of, well, they always follow the law. They always follow the law. It's like, no, they did not. I mean, that's what the whole thing of Kings and Chronicles and
Mm-hmm.
them being taken captive was because they weren't following the law.
Right. Yeah.
Right? The 10 tribes to the north, as we will find out, get taken and scattered to the four winds. And then,
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps messing up until well, everybody's already knows, until Messiah comes, right?
Right.
Until the Christ is here.
We're not revealing any secrets here.
Yeah.
Just we already know how the story goes, but I think the details are interesting, and they sure do have a lot of meaning in there. If you can study and have that revealed to you, that's wonderful.
So let's see here. We're almost to, and this will be next week, but something that a lot of people today are preaching on, all happily, talking about Jehu. We're going to be getting to that.
Okay.
Which, spoiler alert, Jehu's not who current people are making him out to be.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have anything else on 2 Kings 7 or 8?
No, I really don't. It was fairly straightforward.
It is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you've been chewing on that you have questions about?
No, I mean, as far as anywhere you mean in the Bible, or these two chapters?
No, anywhere.
Anywhere, huh? Oh.
They're all everything all the time. No.
We have a...
That's what we do. We ponder, right?
That's right. We ponder. It was interesting. I had seen a short video of somebody was, it was, the title of it was how our family is during a family Bible study. And one guy was wearing a helmet and one guy was wearing something else, and they were yelling at each other across the
Oh, yeah.
debate and stuff. And I found that interesting. We have, not that we were doing this, but our Sunday morning, we do a little Bible study with some of Matt's family. And it's very interesting. There was a couple verses that, one verse Matt got stuck on, and one verse, it didn't really relate to what we were reading, but we were just decided to discuss it. It was quite interesting how, I don't know what you say, we didn't raise our voices, but we definitely had a lively discussion. Let's put it that way. So.
Right. And that's in part why we do it kind of like this. We get the reading done, and then we can do all the discussing.
Right. Yeah.
And I tried to get that established with a certain group for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably always go back to who's going to be the raiser of taxes without fail.
Right. Oh.
And the thing is, it's there's this prevailing idea across most of Christendom, actually, that if they can identify who Antichrist is, then it's time to get serious. Well, no, how about get serious now, and then you'll be able to see what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to agree. I think sometimes I go back and forth between, is it really something to investigate and try to learn about and understand, or is it a distraction from what we should be learning about in the Bible and, watching for the coming of Christ rather than the coming of the Antichrist?
Right.
We need to be able to know we got to know how to know the difference. We have to be discerning.
But Did Matt bring one of the sheep in the house? Who is banging around in there?
Oh no, that would be Matt. He's getting things ready. He's got to go run to town real quick. Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I didn't think it was that loud. It must have been.
That's the funniest looking Icelandic sheep I've ever seen.
Meow.
Meow.
Okay. Well, thank you for reading, Janice. Thanks for making an appearance, Matt. And everybody, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. And if you want to read, let us know by next Friday. You can let me know today, but let us know by next Friday at the latest. And then we'll get you in here reading.
Mm-hmm.
So again, thank you, everybody. Love you all. Enjoy your day and get a good rest. Bye. Oh, you know what? You probably should click the end stream. Bye. Bye.